Hi everyone. So I wanted to go over connecting the California Common Core state standards to the California ELD standards. So for our learning objective, we're going to make a connection between the California Common Core state standards and the California English Language Development standards. Before we get started, why do we have to connect? Why should we connect the California Common Core state standards to the California English Language Development standards? So firstly, the California Common Core state standards are a part of a national movement to ensure that kindergarten through grade 12 students gain the necessary literacy and mathematical understanding and practices required for the 21st century higher education and workplace community. California English learners may need instructional support in developing proficiency in English language and literacy as they engage in learning academic content based on these new rigorous standards. In recognition of the need for new English language development standards to clarify what knowledge, skills, and abilities are needed to help English learners engage with and master next generation standards, including college and career readiness standards, Assembly Bill 124 was enacted and required the state superintendent of public education, in consultation with the SBE, to update, revise, and align the state's current California English Language Development standards by grade level to the state's English Language Arts standards. So, in other words, essentially, the California ELD standards, which are the little sisters, are directly connected to the California Common Core English Language Art ELA state standards, or the big sister. Let's learn how to access the California ELD standards in case you don't have a physical copy. So I'll go over the instructions orally and then we will see it done in action. So to access the California ELD standards, follow these steps. First, go to lausd.net. Step 2, click on the search bar. Step 3, type in California ELD standards. Step 4, click on the link which reads Multilingual and Multicultural Education -ELD Standards. Step 5, scroll down to either the CELDS Elementary or Standards at a Glance, CELDS. Step 6, click on your grade level to access the California ELD standards. So let's go through those steps now. So go to lausd.net. Click on the search bar, top right hand corner, microscope. Let me try that again. Click or type in California ELD standards. Click on Multilingual and Multicultural Education ELD standards. From here, you can either click on CELDS Elementary School or Standards at a Glance. They're both essentially the same thing. The CELDS Elementary School standards are more drawn out, whereas the standards are at a glance are probably the ones that you're more used to seeing. They are that one pager, one legal size pager. So click on your standard, and we can see that this one is the drawn out one, which has all the standards page by page. And if we went back and look at the standards at a glance, third grade, we can see that this is more condensed. Let's go back to the presentation. So let's connect the California Common Core state standards for English Language Arts to the California ELD standards. Let's take a closer look at the coding associated with the California Common Core State Standards. Here we have writing standard 3 for third grade. The coding for the standard is W33, where the W stands for writing. The middle number is for the grade, so in our case, grade 3. Of course, this number is going to be dependent on your grade. And the last number is the standard. In our case, it's 3, because we're working on standard 3. You might be working on standard 10. In that case, this number would be 10. You might be working on standard 3A. If that's the case, then we would add a little a here. So let's go over the standard. So standard 3 reads, write narratives to develop real or imagined experiences or events using effective techniques, descriptive details, and clear event sequence. And we also have the substandards, establish a situation and introduce a narrator and or character, organize an event sequence that unfolds naturally. Substandard B, use dialogue and description of actions, thoughts, and feelings to develop experiences and events or show the response of characters to situation. Substandard 3, use temporal words and phrases to signal events. Substandard D, provide a sense of closure. So there are several California ELD standards which meet Common Core State Standard W33, the one that we just reviewed. That being said, since there are several standards, there are several activities that you can work on with your ELD students during their designated ELD time, which directly correspond to the California Common Core State Standard you are working on during your ELA block. So for example, if we were to look here, Standard 10 works with Standard 10 of the California ELD standard correlates with Standard W33. So if you look here, it's 1 through 8. 3 would be included in this standard. So now we can go ahead and read Standard 3. Keep in mind, depending on the level of students that you have, the more support the student needs, the darker the color. The less support the student needs, the lighter the color would be. So for example, if you have a level 1 student, either a newcomer, international student, or a student who is testing at a level 1, we would use the emerging standard or the darker standard. If you have students who are at a level 2 or a level 3, we would be using the expanding standard or the lighter color standard. And then students who are performing at a level 4, we would use the lighter color standard. So let's just take a look at the middle standard and have a look at it. So California ELD Standard 10 reads, write longer literary and informational text. For example, an explanatory text on how flashlights work. Collaboratively, for example, joint construction of text with an adult or with a peer, and with increasing independence using appropriate text organization. Reading the standard, I think to myself that the standard that you're working on in your ELA block, for example, be it W33, the writing narrative standard, that could be brought in to your ELD time, and we can reinforce the ELD the California Common Core State Standard in your ELD time, providing extra support to those ELD students, providing more time, reinforcing the concept so they truly understand the standard and can truly access the standard. So if we're sticking to Common Core State Standard W33, California ELD Standard 1 and 2 could also be used during ELD time to reinforce the previously mentioned Common Core state standard. So if we look over at the left side, we can see that Standard 1 and Standard 2 both meet California Common Core State Standard W33. Here is 1 through 5, so 3 is in there. Here is 1 through 4, so 3 is in there as well. Let's just read one standard. Let's read the emerging standard for Standard 1. Understanding text structure. Apply understanding of how different text types are organized to express ideas. For example, how a story is organized sequentially, to comprehending text and writing basic text. So we can use our ELD time to reinforce the concept of Common Core State Standard W33 by elaborating on the sequence structure of a narrative. It would be a double dose for our English learners by reinforcing a concept they were introduced to during their ELA block. One last one. So lastly, let's look at California ELD Standards 6 and 7, which also reinforces Common Core State Standard W33. So if we look over on the left side, we can see that Common Core State Standard W33 is in both of these. And let's take a look at the first standard. Let's look at the bridging standard this time. Connecting ideas. Combine clauses, and clauses are a sentence without a period. So that would be like the noun, the verb, and then the information. And then we could combine it with like an and then we have another noun, verb, and information. And we're combining two sentences together with an and or a but to make a complex sentence. Anyways, combine clauses in a variety of ways, creating compound and complex sentences to make connections between and join ideas. For example, to express cause and effect, the deer ran because the mountain lion approached them. To make a concession, she studied all night even though she wasn't feeling well. Or to link two ideas that happened at the same time. The cubs played while their mother hunted. So using this standard, we can, in connection to Common Core State Standard W33, we can have a student writing, we can have a student narrative writing, and maybe they're writing in, they're solely writing one sentence. Subject, verb, information. In order to make their writing more expressive, when we get their writing and bring it into ELD time, where we could be reinforcing the notion of making complex compound sentences using this writing. So we could introduce the concept of complex and compound sentences, teach students how to use those conjunction words to bring two sentences or two clauses together, and then have them apply that in their own writing. So if you have any questions or would like to see this applied to your class, please feel free to reach out and I would gladly help out. Thank you for your time. I hope you found this useful.